Alright, hi everybody. So I've got a lot of requests from people to do a video on bench day. So here's my chest, biceps, and ab routine. So if you want to see more about my split, go ahead and take a look at the description. It's going to have notes, talk about the sets and reps, everything else. So to get started, I'm going to show you what I do to get warmed up for bench. It's pretty simple. I basically start off with a lighter weight and I'll do about 10 to 12 reps just to get the blood flowing. I'm not getting set up for powerlifting here. My back's flat. I'm not doing any arching. So you can see just nice and smooth, pumping out some reps. And I like to do a pretty quick warm up to get ready for my top set. So you'll see each time I'm going to add about 20 pounds to the bar. And as I add more weight to the bar, I'm going to start doing fewer reps. And while the weight's lighter and the reps are higher, again, I'm not going to be arching. I'm not going to be really getting set up for like a, a heavy bench. I'm just kind of getting the blood flowing here. And if you're wondering what that is on the bar, it's called a bench blocks. And I have it set to add about, I think it's a ½ inch distance. So it's not very much, but it's just enough to keep my shoulders feeling good, especially when I'm doing a lot of volume for pressing, which I am right now. Again, I'm shooting to hit a 500-pound bench. And so, at this time, I'm doing a lot of pressing. So usually it'll take me about 7-8 minutes to get warmed up for my heavy set. You can see when I bring the bar down, I'm usually bringing it just below my nipples, so pretty low on my chest. Now this next set, the weights get a little bit heavier. Again, I'm going to come down in reps. I am going to start setting up how I would for a heavy bench. So you'll see what I do is I'm going to arch my back a bit, but start off by getting my shoulder blades nice and tight into the bench. I'm going to squeeze the bar really tight in my hands, keep that squeeze the whole set. And I'm going to think heels to traps. So basically I'm going to be pushing through my heels to smash my traps up against the bench before I press. And then when I unrack, I'm basically pushing up and I'm thinking like a pullover. So I'm kind of using my lats to get the bar into position. As far as grip for me, I usually go just outside of shoulder width, so it's just a little outside the rings. But here you can see I'm getting my shoulder blades dug into the bench. Now I'm using my heels to smash my traps up. I'm going to press the bar up like a pullover, get it in the position, and press nice and smooth. And this is a warm-up I'll typically use for my chest day. And for most body parts in general, I do like to start off with some type of a compound movement. I think it's a great way to get blood into the target muscle. And always make sure your bar is nice and lined up. You want everything lined up, so when you're looking at either side of the bar, make sure it's the same amount of distance between the uprights. I don't typically wear wraps until things get heavier, but I feel they keep my my wrist feeling good. So again, it's important to stay tight the entire time. My shoulder blades are nice and tight. My traps are smashed into the bench. Heels are pushing up a little bit. Small arch, pressing low off my chest. And that's the form I'll use for my heavy set. So I believe I have one more warm-up set, and then I hit my top set. So I do things a little different than most people. I usually will reverse pyramid most of my sets, which means I'll start off, the first exercise of a body part, getting warmed up like I am now. But then once I'm warmed up, I'll start with the heaviest weight, then I'll slowly drop the weight each set. And for my last warm-up set before bench, I like to use my working weight. And take your time getting set up. Don't rush it, because it's one of the most important things to staying safe, to keeping your shoulders healthy. Make sure everything's in the position. The other thing I'll mention is when I press, my arms are typically around a 45-degree angle. They're not far out to the sides. And again, I'm going to be lowering it pretty slowly. Once I feel it touch low on my chest, I'm going to explode up. So you can see my elbows down at 45. All right, so everything's been moving pretty good. That means I'm going to go ahead and do that top set. So again, squeeze the bar hard your entire set. Dig your shoulder blades into the bench. Think heels to traps. Push through your heels. Smash your traps into the bench. Brace your core like you would for squats. And get set. Something a lot of people do is they forget to brace their core before they get started for their set. So again, like you're taking a punch. So tense your abs. Inhale, stay tight. And when you think about bench, think of it as a full body movement. Don't just think about your chest. You want all your reps to feel and look the same. So for my heavy set, which that was, I'll generally aim for somewhere between 6 to 8 reps. When I get over 8 reps, that's when I'll up the weight. But right now, I'm doing it a little different. I'm shooting for 10 reps. Next up, incline dumbbell bench. So again, use your legs, kick them dumbbells into position, small arch, low back, poke your chest up, keep your elbows 45 degrees, up fast, down slow and controlled, about 3 seconds on the way down. You want to conserve as much energy as you can before you actually start the movement. So, that means getting the weight efficiently off the rack and into position. And if you have a bench that goes a little under 45 degrees, that's even better. When it comes to incline pressing, you don't want to be up too high. I find if you get up too high, you start hitting your shoulders a little too much. And for incline, I'll do 4 sets, but I'm just showing you one as an example. Same thing for bench. Bench was 4 sets, and I'll reverse pyramid it. Next up, I'll do decline dumbbell flies, and I'd like to do these off the floor. I got this idea from John Meadows. It works amazing. So you're going to lift your hips up in the air. You're going to press, again, your heels, your traps, to keep your upper back tight. And you're using the floor to kind of limit your range of motion. That does a couple things. It keeps your shoulders nice and healthy so you're not overextending, right, when you're stretched. And it's also allowing you to use a little bit of a heavier weight. So for this set, I think I had about 50 pounds here. For flies, I do like to go higher in the rep range. You don't have to do that, but for me, that's what I feel most in my chest. What I like to think when I'm doing these is the target muscle. You'll see, once I'm into position, I have my hips up. I start from the bottom. A good stretch, but you can see my pecs are really contracting for most of this motion. You're going to get a lot more pec involvement when you're doing flies than you are with bench press. I would say, honestly, for me, this has been the best movement for developing, muscle for the chest. Again, you want to focus on getting a good squeeze at the top, contract a little bit, lower it down slow, take about 3 seconds, think about hugging a tree when you're bringing the weight back up. Have a slight bend in your elbows. You don't have to keep your arms completely straight, but have a slight bend in your elbow. And just keep it going. Keep it smooth. If you can go heavy and, you're feeling in your chest the entire time at a lower rep range, let's say 8 to 10, 12 reps, go for it. For me, when I get into those lower rep ranges with chest flies, I stop feeling it in my chest. I start feeling it in my shoulders. So for me, I like to have a higher rep range. I'll typically keep these around, let's say 16. Sometimes I'll even go as high as 22, 25. But again, I do a reverse pyramid with these. So this set I had 50. My next 3 sets after this, so 4 total sets, I went down each time. So I started off with 50, then I went down to 45. I did 2 sets with 45. And my last set, I went all the way down to 30 pounds. And for me, that last set is the one I usually feel the most. Even though it's only 30 pounds, I'm usually only getting 15 to 20 reps with that 30 pounds because I'm exhausted from those heavier sets. But that entire set, I'm really feeling the entire set. And stretch after this one, it feels amazing. So literally just put your arms flat back on the floor, and it's going to feel wonderful. So next up, I actually like to use a incline dumbbell row to get my biceps warmed up. And again, this is compound movement. It's excellent if your low back's fatigued. And I like to get as much back volume as possible. But you do have to be careful because you don't want to overwork your back, especially if you're doing squats, deadlifts. They're going to work it really hard. But this is a great way to get your bicep warmed up. And a lot of people say to me, Dom, what's the trick? How do you get your arms so big? I'm going to be honest. I think most of my arm growth came from doing a lot of rows. So when you do, heavy barbell rows, you're really working your biceps. And I recommend using wraps for these. I mean, if you have a crazy strong grip, go for it. But you don't want your grip to be what limits you. Again, you're looking to get, you're getting your lats, a little workout here. You're also getting your biceps warmed up. But you can see when I go down, I go all the way down. I like to feel a good stretch. And then I squeeze on the way up, nice and slow. I'm not jerking the weight around. So for this, I actually am only going to do 3 sets. I didn't record all of them. I just recorded a couple for you. But I'll some of my exercises I'll do straight sets. For this one, I don't reverse pyramid. I don't go lower in weight. I believe I had 85 pounds for this, and I just did 3 sets with 85. So I actually recorded another angle so you could see how much I stretch my back out when I do this exercise. You're really going to want to go to the very bottom range of the motion to get all the stretch you can out of that motion. And then when you come up, what I like to think is stretch to the bottom, feel it, and then when you come up, squeeze it up. You're not jerking it up, you're squeezing it up. And honestly, guys, if you want to build a big bench, you have to be building your back as well. And getting good with rows, all different kinds of rows, is important. So, these I like to incorporate a couple times a week. On my back day, I'll do Dorian Yates rows, so heavy barbell rows, and lots of pull-ups. But I'll do that another day. And you can tell I keep the reps pretty high here too. Again, this is not me, going all out to get a back workout. This is me using a little bit of a lighter weight to move some blood into my biceps here. All right, next, I like to start with a concentration curl for biceps. So elbows against your inner thigh, arms going to be relaxed, all the way extended. Contract your bicep hard to bring the weight up. And then when you lower the weight, have it controlled and go kind of slow, 2 to 3 seconds to the bottom. For me, when I train with dumbbells for my biceps, I usually will use unilateral movements, so just one arm at a time. I feel that I'm able to get a better mind-muscle connection. And for smaller muscle groups for me, so for example, your biceps are small, your calves are a smaller muscle group, I find that high rep ranges and unilateral movements work best for me. And I find it's also excellent if you're having any kind of shoulder issues. This for me, takes the shoulder completely out of any of the curling. And you'll notice I do lean forward pretty far. I don't necessarily recommend that for everyone, but try it. I find that for me, I get a better contraction, especially at the top when I'm further forward when I do the motion. But just think stretch and squeeze. Stretch and squeeze. So for bicep curls, I'll do these for 3 sets. And basically I'm just going to reverse pyramid. So I only recorded 1 set, but basically I started with 45, next set was 40, and I finished up with 35 pounds. All right, next set would be easy bar curls. If you can go with a straight barbell and it doesn't give you any pain, go for it. It's an excellent mass builder. So keep a small bend in your knee the whole time. Squeeze the bar hard the entire time you're squeezing up. Contract your biceps at the top for a second and then lower it slowly. Take about 3 seconds. Rinse and repeat. Again, guys, don't go crazy using heavy weight for biceps. Your biceps, even though they may look big, they're not a big muscle. They're one of the smallest muscles in your body. So focus on feeling the movements. If you don't believe me, look at Kai Green. I mean, I think he was doing curls with 25-pound dumbbells. And it's okay that you're not perfectly still when you're doing bicep movements like this, the standing curl. A little bit of motion is fine. Even if you were to cheat a little on those last couple reps, that's okay. But, if you're new to this, I wouldn't do that. If you've got a bit of experience and you've been doing it for a while, go for it. And as long as you're not feeling any pain, you should be okay. All right, next up, incline dumbbell curls. I like to add these last, especially because your arms are really pumped. When you get to the bottom of this movement, you're going to do a crazy good stretch that's just going to feel amazing. And then just like before, squeeze hard as you pull the weight up, and then control it on the way down. Take 2 to 3 seconds on the way down. The other thing you'll notice is I lean a little bit side to side as I do this motion. Again, I find for me that puts my arm in a better position to feel the motion. And, this type of workout's a hypertrophy focus, so I'm really focusing on mind-muscle connection. And part of that is moving through a range that feels comfortable and targets the muscle the entire time. I'm not looking to move the most amount of weight during this workout. Again, this is more so to feel the muscle and to really get a pump. So for this, same thing as last. I'll do 3 sets. I'm going to do a reverse pyramid, just dropping a little bit of weight each time. So it looks like for this one, I'm looking at my logbook. I started off, I think, with 35, then I did 30, and then 25. So again, I'm not using heavy dumbbells here. And the last thing you'll see are hanging leg raises for abs. I like to use wrist wraps for these when I have my hands on the bar because I don't want my grip to be the limiting factor. I keep my heels together the entire time. I kick my heels high. I get them above my eye level. And I steady myself at the bottom before I start my next rep. And I put a note at the bottom. I do train my abs and my calves twice a week. I don't use a lot of volume each workout. So basically what I'm going to do for my abs is I'll do 5 sets of hanging leg raises, and I'll do those twice a week. I'll do those today. Obviously this is my chest bicep day. But then I'll do them again later in the week. So I'll actually do them with shoulders and traps. And don't think that, this is all the work I do for my abs, because as many of you probably know, if you're doing heavy compound movements like squats, that 100% will work your abs. When you're bracing your core to do heavy deadlifts, that's also working your abs. And really, anytime you're using good form with things like rows, again, using your abs. I'll say some of the best ab workouts I've gotten have been from doing squats, especially front squats. So don't limit yourself to just doing crunches on the floor. If I'm being honest, I think that's not even the best way to go about your ab training. So again, for these I do 5 sets, and for these I do as many reps as I can each set. Generally, I rest about 90 seconds after the set and then jump right back to the next set. And to be honest, guys, my forearms get a pump out of this. I really do think you can get some forearm development out of just doing this motion if you're hanging long enough from the bar. Alright, well, if you like the video, and be sure to subscribe for some more videos. Let me know what you want to see in the comments. Just write something below if there's something you want me to show you. Again, I'm going through a 500-pound bench press at 190 body weight. Right now my weight's about 194. And once I hit 405 for 10, that's when I'm going to start going heavy. Later, y'all.